Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises in gaming history, but that does not mean that it's perfect. It's actually quite the opposite, really. A lot of COD games have had some pretty rough starts, and in today's video, we're going to look at the worst of the worst. That's right. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the page. Chaos here, and these are going to be the worst COD launches in the history of the franchise. It's going to get pretty dirty here, so just stick with me. Let me know which of these you thought was the worst. Drop a like, and there is a link at the top of the description if you want to check out the new Chaos Call of Duty channel that is for daily COD content, leaks, rumors, shorts, funny clips, drama, whatever it may be. You guys get over there and subscribe. We are on our way to 10,000 subs over on the channel. Now, we're going to start off with Warzone 1. Now, the original Warzone was a massive success. It changed everything. But if you played it during the first day or two, you know what I'm talking about. When the game first went live, matchmaking was completely broken. I mean, often putting you in the pregame lobby and then just holding you there for 10 to 20 minutes at a time in a queue. I'm serious, 10 to 20 minutes. There were also a number of bugs with loadout drops, weapon spawns. It got frustrating, but thankfully it was patched out pretty quickly. Warzone was the biggest Call of Duty game ever at the time of release, at least in terms of player count. So I don't blame Infinity Ward for having a handful of technical problems, but a lot of day one Warzone players were pretty pissed off. Now, ironically, Warzone 1 got even buggier as time went on, but when it comes to COD launches, I mean, I think it's the 10th worst, and this is going to get pretty ugly as we go, and you're going to remember some of these, and you're going to have flashbacks, and you'll be like, why did you remind me? At number 2, Modern Warfare 2 2022. The latest COD launch was relatively smooth, but there was still a number of major issues, some of which have not yet been fixed. Now, the gameplay was pretty intact. The progression was very, very bugged, and a number of people literally couldn't unlock certain weapons because the challenges required to unlock them were not tracking properly. There were also a handful of connection-based issues, albeit not nearly as bad as some of the other COD games we'll talk about today. Overall, Modern Warfare 2 2022 had an okay launch when compared to other recent COD projects, but I don't really know if that's a compliment when you consider how messy things are going to get in this video. Strap in, because it's about to get really, really buggy. At number 8, Modern Warfare 2 2009. Speaking of bugs, how many of you were around on day one of launch for Modern Warfare 2? Did you wait at GameStop at midnight? I mean, this is where most of us COD players realized just how insane things could get. Most of the core skeleton was intact, but so many little things were busted. Out-of-map glitches, shotguns with infinite range, massive design oversights like one-man army noob tubes. I mean, lackluster security. It allowed modded lobbies to completely take over the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of the game. In fact, the game's security was so bad that a number of early MLG tournaments actually had to be canceled because the organizers were concerned about the competitive integrity. All things considered, classic Modern Warfare 2 had a horrendous launch, but all the broken things contributed to it being one of the most memorable, best times and totally insane multiplayer game experiences of all time. So I put it at number 8. It was busted, but it was busted in a fun way. At number 7, Infinite Warfare. Now, Infinite Warfare had a pretty decent connection at launch. It had a laundry list of other issues, though, that many players immediately noticed. For starters, a handful of staple features were missing, such as leaderboards, custom emblems, both of which had a big coming soon label, like a slap in your face. It also didn't take long for people to realize how broken some of the maps were in the game, as a number of maps had to be completely removed from matchmaking in order to fix up some out-of-map spots that people were abusing. So, Infinite Warfare actually had a decent connection at launch, but the missing content and the long list of map glitches are enough to get it the number 7 spot today. Do you remember back in 2016 when the only missing content was custom emblems and leaderboards? Yeah, that was a precursor of what was to come. At number 6, Warzone 2. I'm willing to bet a lot of you haven't heard anything about Warzone 2 since it came out, and that's the problem. This highly anticipated evolution of Warzone launched with some of the most baffling issues in Battle Royale history, many of which still have not been fixed. They say they're going to be fixed for Season 2. We'll see. Aside from the extremely strict skill-based matchmaking, Warzone 2 had a number of progression issues that carried over from the base version of Modern Warfare 2, which got really frustrating for free-to-play players who didn't want to drop $70 on core multiplayer. Spectator mode, busted. Footstep audio and hit detection, busted. I mean, it was a lot of frustrating gunfights for people. And did I mention the game often crashed multiple times per hour? I really want Warzone 2 to recapture the magic of the early days of Warzone, but the game right now is currently in a steep downward spiral. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the new season can get it to recover and get back on track. Now we reach the top 5. Modern Warfare 2019. Now, it was insanely hyped leading up to launch, but it infamously lost a huge, massive chunk of its player base almost immediately after the game came out. Not only did Modern Warfare crash constantly, but it was riddled with performance issues, especially on the PC version. On top of all that, there was a severe lack of 6v6 content and a lot of longtime players uninstalled after just a week. The matchmaking was widely hated due to the game's inconsistency and insistence on matching players based on skill instead of connection, meaning you were constantly be thrown into these lobbies with over 100 ping and joining matches in progress instead of getting a fair shot at a win. Now, some of these were design decisions, while others were just total oversights, but they all contributed to a very frustrating game launch that a lot of people are still not happy about to this day. At number 4, Vanguard. It may be one of the most hated COD games of all time, but to its credit, it wasn't the most broken. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot wrong with it, but it wasn't quite as busted as some of the other recent releases. Vanguard actually had a lot of content available at launch day, which was a nice change of pace. However, it was loaded with technical issues, broken animations, non-functional progression, and a now infamous packet burst problem that made the gunplay feel really inconsistent. Vanguard's development was incredibly rushed, and the fact that Sledgehammer had to get it up and running on the 8th and 9th generation consoles in less than 2 years was almost an impossible feat. There was bound to be issues, but nobody thought it would be that bad. Again, the game had a lot of content. I appreciate that. But the number of bugs, it was insane. How many times did you die in Vanguard because of that packet burst? At number 3, Black Ops 4. A lot of COD players see this game as the true, the bad one. It was wildly different from the other games. Longer time to kill, manual healing, smaller team sizes, and a number of unique specialists that all had their own abilities and gear. On top of all that, Black Ops 4 had a very troubled development cycle. It showed its ugly colors on launch day. This was one of the most unstable AAA games of 2018. It featured constant crashing. The frame rate was horrendous, frequently made it feel sluggish and unresponsive during gunfights. On top of that, it had a content issue. It had a problem. Very few weapons and game modes compared to other previous Treyarch games, which made the technical problems stick out and sting even more. Black Ops 4 eventually got patched up, like they all do, and a lot of COD players remember the final version very fondly. But the first few weeks, it was a hot mess. It was ultimately what killed it in the minds of many long-time Black Ops fans. Let's stick with Black Ops. At number 2, Black Ops Cold War. Now, before I say anything too negative, let me first say that it's a miracle that Black Ops Cold War even exists. The game was frantically put together in less than a year and a half, and given the ridiculous time constraints, I think the devs did the best they could. But with that being said, the game almost got the number 1 spot because of the massive list of glitches present on launch day. Constant crashing, horrible lag, frame rate drops, stutter, zombies mode was pretty much unplayable. I mean, design problems everywhere. But design problems aside, it was nowhere close to working as intended when it came out. But believe it or not, there's still one more game that had a worse state. And if you've been playing COD for a little while, you probably already know what's at number 1 today. COD World War II. Now, there's a few theories that Sledgehammer was originally making a sequel to Advanced Warfare, but they were forced by Activision to turn it into a World War II game late development. I don't know if it's true, but it would explain the game's launch. Aside from the fact that COD World War II launched with less content than ever before, the game literally didn't work for weeks after release. Servers were down, going down for maintenance. The headquarters had to be disabled entirely. The game crashed. It erased whatever you were working on. There was a whole bunch of audio bugs, like the infamous screaming announcer in war mode. All to be fair, that bug didn't show itself for a few months. There was also the incredibly frustrating infinite spectator mode glitch that would completely lock you out of war mode if you were unfortunate enough to get hit by it, forcing you to quit the game and start over. It was a disaster on launch day, not only because it wasn't the game COD fans wanted, but also because it was clearly not ready to be shipped or launched. And the technical issues persisted for months. In my opinion, COD World War II had the worst launch in franchise history. I'm really hoping no game ever breaks its record. Whatever happened to COD games just working on day 1. And I'm pretty sure we didn't have very many weapons on launch day in COD World War II either. So there you go. Let me know if I got it right. Let me know if I got it wrong. Check out the new Chaos Call of Duty channel, and I'll see you guys soon.